Please consider subscribing if you enjoy this content. All right. Racket number 1 is a survey from Pew Research Center. Survey. Americans.
Have you heard of Pew?
Yeah, I have. PEW. I've heard. I think we've actually covered Pew.
Maybe I haven't heard of them.
Survey. Americans want distance from neighbors. Okay, so what does that mean? Americans want more social distance from their neighbors. This Pew Research Center finds a shift in home preferences since the pandemic, with more consumers saying they want a larger home, even if it means local amenities are further away. Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it before? What is it now? 2019, before the pandemic, 53% of Americans wanted larger and farther apart homes, but school, stores, and restaurants are several miles away. So 53% preferred that, 47% preferred smaller, closer to each other. And in 2019, it references that 47% was on the rise. So it was almost getting to a 50-50
I think we've talked
state.
about it. I think we've talked about this multiple times in the past, about being in smaller communities, HOAs.
We felt like before
less
the pandemic,
mowing.
I said it multiple times in our market anyways, millennials and boomers wanted the same thing. Boomers were retiring, wanted to be like in our little downtown areas, and millennials wanted the same thing, walkable, being able to get to the coffee shop without getting in a car, all that kind of stuff. So it was almost 50-50. Now it's 60-39. I don't know where they're missing one though. 60-39.
Okay. 99% of the people came in.
% want larger, farther apart, but schools, stores, restaurants several miles away. 39% want that smaller, walkable feel. Nicole, personally, where are you? And then where do you think most of your clients are fitting in now during the pandemic?
It's interesting though. So I prefer a smaller lot, and I like to be walkable. It's interesting. I actually am glad that I live where I live even during the pandemic, because again, my children were still able to like walk to the green. They were able to see people, like again, people were constantly walking past our house. So you saw life, you saw like activity. There was life. There were people. And it's interesting though, because I do have to say that I think a lot of my buyers during the pandemic, again, we need to keep in mind though, there were a lot of people coming from New York. So they were desperate because they were in high rises where, they were afraid to touch buttons and elevators. They were desperate to have
And if they were there for
space.
multiple years, to get out of a shoebox and have a sprawling 4-acre lot was very attractive.
100%. And a lot of them were then, reevaluating holidays, like this is where we want to come. It wasn't just going to be a summer home. Like where can we come for Thanksgiving? Where can our family come for Christmas? A lot of them were looking for, if it wasn't like ocean, they wanted a pond so that their kids could fish. They were really looking for this to be a full experience. I have to say though that even if you weren't coming in from the city, I think that a lot of individuals were, because we were spending a lot more time at home. I think we'll continue to spend a little bit more time at home, where, it was nice to finally see the kids, really sort of participating in outdoor activity. But for me personally, I love where I live. I have a small lot. Byron saw a photo that I just took down trees. So I literally can see.
We'll get into that in the next racket.
Inside of a firehouse currently.
Yeah.
But I still love it because my kids can walk to the green. They can walk and grab milk. If they want to get an ice cream cone, they can do that on their own. So I'm still very much a supporter of being close to everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the minority before pandemic and after pandemic, or during pandemic, I should say. I'm in that minority of not necessarily needing to walk. You can walk to
things
where I buy my real estate. You can walk to things. Yes, I don't walk to anything.
You don't walk.
I don't.
No.
What I like is being very close to everything,
like the highway,
shopping.
Yeah,
I want to be very close to all those things,
right?
And so that's where I tend to invest in real estate and live. It makes sense to me because those locations are going to
keep
be
their
good
value
locations no matter what in the future.
Yeah.
Like we saw rural locations where we live in Connecticut really take a hit for many years.
So many
because
years.
they're so far apart from everything. Now that, that last mile, Amazon is starting to figure that out. It's less as important maybe to be close to shopping?
Well, I think it's less important. Well, I think it's also, again, highways and work. It's a lot less important because people are able to work from home. But I guarantee you, some of these people, again, especially if they're not accustomed to or know the towns, as soon as they have to start going back to work, they're going to see just how far away they are from just getting to a highway or a main route. And
you got to, let's face it, you got to be a really good cook if you're going to live in the middle of nowhere. You know, you've got to get all your groceries or have somebody deliver them, and then
or you need to make sure
cooking,
a child doesn't
leave
a cleat
an hour
behind
away.
because you're not driving back to pick up a cleat. You have to go buy new cleats or a new sneaker.
Nicole White can martini it up and just stumble home down the sidewalk.
I never cook, so I would do horrible in rural anywhere, but.
Now, I believe this survey is one of the more accurate surveys that we've seen. I think this is accurate from what we're seeing with our buyers. And I do believe people want these larger homes, and it's flipped. I didn't think it was going to flip until we went Jetson mode and you had flying cars and more maybe self-driving cars. I didn't think it was going to totally flip till then, but it has flipped. People do want larger spaces. If they've got, a family of 4 or 5, they want that many bedrooms so they can have offices and private TV rooms and all this kind of stuff. The way I live in my home, I don't need a lot of space. I'm an office guy. So whether I'm in Connecticut or I'm in Florida, I'm going to the office to do my work the majority of the time. And when I'm home. And I'm usually trying to be like, hey, let's get out of the house and let's go to a restaurant or go somewhere, right?
Well, and you have parks nearby too.
I have parks and all that kind of stuff. So, and I like having access to that. I can see totally the other side where it's desirable for people to have their own farm, to have a really large yard, to have everything
enough room
there.
For a pool.
Yeah.
I mean, pools are a huge rise right now too.
I don't mind how close my neighbors are in both locations.
Well, you share a wall.
I'm not, in both.
You share
in both.
walls.
I have the villa set up in Florida. They're it's basically the same exact thing as Connecticut. It's 2 units attached to each other in both.
And you're friendly, locations. I imagine, with both.
I don't prefer to talk to neighbors, so it's odd. You'd think people that live close together want to like socialize and all that stuff. I don't go to any of the social events. I choose not to socialize with my neighbors at all. They're there. I respect them.
Obviously, they're there.
They respect me.
They're home. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't pay them any mind, at all. I'm just, I go about my business. And, I guess it would be, maybe I would change my mind if I had an overly friendly neighbor that really wants to neighbor it up. That would drive me nuts. You'd be coming over looking for not sugar, but booze all the time. We ran out of Tito's again.
I don't run out of Tito's. I don't. That's one.
What are you guys doing over there?
Maybe I'll run out of a lime.
You hang out with your neighbor all the time.
Oh,
across the street.
Lots.
Yeah.
Lots.
Very neighborly.
Very neighborly.
Yeah, I that's one thing.
We pool our food together and we cook whatever. We do like smorgasbords.
When I was young, it was
you're
cool.
Missing out.
When I was a kid.
Well, you now have children, so they need
right.
Some,
this is where I'm going with this.
Yes.
When I was a kid, my parents were friends with. Well, really, my sister was friends with. She had a friend. Believe it or not, she had a friend. Not a believe it or not. Anyways, she had a friend, and so my parents got together with their family, and they had a son. So it was boy girl. Parents got along, so their parents ended up buying the lot next to us and building
because you guys were so friendly.
They wanted to move to that area, and they were friendly, and it all just kind of worked out. And once they moved in, it was awesome. Like I could just run over there. Try to throw a rock up against the window.
I think it's great.
Try to, get my buddy to come out. But now that I'm older, I don't want anybody coming just popping over unannounced. I don't like an unannounced pop by.
No?
So, no.
I don't know that many people do that anymore.
That.
It reminds me of who's that Italian comedian? Sebastian.
Sebastian, what is it?
Oh my God, it's I'll have to show you.
Maybe throw a little bit up on him.
Oh, it's the greatest bit ever about like Sanka and having your Entenmann's, and you used to have all this stuff prepared.
What's an Entenmann?
Entenmann's.
Not edamame.
No, Entenmann's, like the brand Entenmann's, like it's.
Oh, the cookie. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So his parents would buy those things in preparation.
That's an old school call out
for somebody to pop by.
Your mother had a little Entenmann's. Maybe some Sara Lee crumble cake. just in case company came over.
Like they would always be like, you weren't allowed to eat any of that because
That's
that was for the guests.
Just for the Popeye.
And he says now, people knock on the door and like everyone's like commando style, like who's here?
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this short clip from The Real World, click here for another one.
Or if you like the full episode, click here.